Miggity mic check 1 2 1 2. I am comedian James Money, and you are watching and listening to Hawaii Comedy with James Money podcast. A little bit late today. I apologize. I was about to get started, and then Bluetooth wasn't catching my microphone. Not microphone, my camera. Wait, no, my earbuds. I was like, wait a minute, what's going on? And then I was like, all right, we got it. I had to shut down computer, turn it back on. We're good to go. And then I spilled water all over my shirt. So things is crazy right about now. All right. Thank you guys for joining me. Let me get into this. One thing I haven't quite figured out yet, and it's sharing or getting this live to go onto my regular Facebook. Without me having to go and share it. You know, it goes onto my fan page, but then try to get to my regular Facebook. Takes a little, I have to like manually do it. I guess I'll figure that out eventually. But yeah, let's see. We are live. We are doing this. Thank you for joining me. Let's see. What's been going on? Want to give a shout out to, before we get started, the Aloha Comedy Festival, which is scheduled to start towards the end of, I think it's like the last weekend of February. So I was supposed to have a Patrick Terrell, who's running the Aloha Comedy Festival, part 2. But the he got called in to perform, or not perform. He's a regular extra or something like that in Magnum PI. So I guess they were shooting and they needed him to be there. So he couldn't be here. He actually probably could have, but I didn't want him to rush it. I mean, work is first. I can carry this podcast, but I will be taking questions. So ask me anything while I'm on live. So feel free to ask questions. I'll see them in the comments as I do the show. And I'm going to talk about current events. Going to talk about going to bring back stupid news. Also, Jimmy's Top 10, which seems to be a crowd favorite. So we got a new Jimmy's Top 10 list, which I will reveal later. Here's another reason the show was delayed. There be a dog in this room. All right, go on, get up. Go. Ugh, okay. So that's my kid's dog, who's not here in Hawaii, but that's her dog that keeps wanting to be here. But then when I start the podcast, it's like, hey, let me out. I'm not interested in this. So he leaves. I guess that's his way of shutting me down. Say what's up to Snoop. What up, Snoop? Good to see you, brother. Hello to my daughter, Tyler, who misspelled dad, who's in college. So, yeesh. What's up to, let me do this. To Jose Figueroas, Jose Dynamite. I would let the 2 dogs come to be guests, but it's hard to carry them. They would definitely get in the way. But yeah, so let's get this show started. Let me pull up. Boom. Where are we? Oh, there we go. Let's see here.
Live from the middle of the Pacific Ocean, it's Hawaii Comedy. With your host, James Money.
Island days, clear clear blue waters and mountain ranges and dancing daughters. I can't get enough of these island days. Won't you take me back to Honolulu? Yeah, that surf is high and I am too. Sing songs all night long. I'm living these island days. Oh, they told me not to fall in love, but I just could not help myself. Oh, I missed my flight again. I was sleeping here with my new friend. Oh, yeah. Island days, clear blue waters, and mountain ranges and beautiful daughters. Yeah. I can't get enough of these island days.
Yes. Oh, I got to give a shout out to Tavana for that awesome music. Thank you guys for joining me. Hawaii Comedy with James Money. I do have it written there on the wall. So if you see me looking up, it's me looking at the title, trying to remember the title of the show that I created. And the title that, you know, I don't know why. Some reason I can't get it yet. It's only been a couple weeks, so I will eventually get it. Hawaii Comedy with James Money podcast. Boom. Yes. Hey, what's up, Johnny Rocks? Mr. Hollywood. So let's see what we got on the agenda. First, we do the shout outs. Shout out to Tavana. You can check him out at Tavana808.com. He's a multi-instrumentalist from Honolulu. Who uses electronic drum triggers to lay down a variety of grooves with his feet while simultaneously playing guitar, banjo, lap steel, or ukulele, and singing soulful, island-inspired rock and blues. I love his music, man. I feel like, you know, I'm a cool guy walking into the saloon, you know, like, comes in with the cowboy boots and the spurs, chang, and I reckon somebody need to get out here and water down my horse, something like that. But those of you guys checking out my shirt, those you can see visually, I want to give a shout out to Aloha Golf Apparel. You can check them out at alohagolfapparel.com. They have hats, t-shirts, and golf accessories. They're locally produced here in Honolulu, Hawaii. They offer fun, stylish activewear on or off the course. Make Oahu Golf Apparel a part of your game. So, yes, see the shirt, you guys. Maybe I should move back. It's beautiful, right? It's got, man, I'm bad with flowers, but it's got white flower with orange and green leaves. So, there. Another shout out to Comedy U Hawaii. Go check them out at comedyuhi.com. They provide stage time for all levels of comedians here on Oahu. They're trying to develop, the next Hawaii stand-up comedy superstar. Tumua today, I guess Saturday, he put out that he's gonna, Tumua Tuine, who's a previous guest, put out that he's going to be doing a mainland tour, mainly West Coast, Washington, I think it's Renton, Washington, Portland, Oregon, San Jose, California, and a few other spots in the West. Sold out in Washington already. So he sold out one spot. He's doing a second show. So those of you guys in those states, go check out tumuacomedy.com. Get your tickets. They're on sale now. I'm actually going to be opening for him on Maui, February 26th, and then March 5th and 6th on Kauai. So there's 3 shows on Kauai. So there's a lot of opportunity to see this guy. And the reason I bring him up is he was part of the Comedy U showcases that he developed his act and his personality, his persona, and and is now, you know, just selling tickets all over the place. So, yeah, go check them out, comedyyuhi.com. The first page on their website, it shows all of the upcoming events. They have one coming up next Tuesday at Blue Note. It's all female show. So if you guys want to check out the next, superstar female comedian coming out of Hawaii, go check out this show, and support. That's the way you help build the scene, is by supporting. And those of you guys who are watching live, I appreciate it. There's a lot of people that actually, they watch or they listen to the audio, which is on wherever you get audio podcasts. So, all right, let's get into it. Thank you, Comedy U Hawaii. Last week, Wednesday, I had my Head of Insecurity headlining show at Blue Note. I want to say thank you to everybody that came out. Thank you to everybody that supported, that couldn't make it, but helped spread the word, and also showed love in like through a text message or a phone call or email. Thank you guys, or even helped with getting us on, or getting me on news outlets to spread the word of the show. So thank you guys. The show went well. I think all the comics killed. It was, for me, it was to see if I still had it, or if I could do an hour. And I think I did about like an hour 15, or maybe an hour 20 or something like that, including the encore or the hanaho. I did like an hour 5, and then it was like, oh, let me, I'm out. And then I got an encore. Or here in Hawaii, we say hanaho. So hanaho, and then came back out, did a bit, and then I took a lot of pictures of people. But I felt bad because Paula Funga, who's an amazing singer here in Hawaii, and she travels and shares her voice and her talent musically all over the globe. But she was at the show, so I was like, oh, cool, but she went to the green room to say hi and take pictures, but I was already outside in the lobby taking pictures with people who wanted to take pictures with me, friends that were there, as well as people who have become new fans and followers. So bittersweet. Got to see, know that she was there, but didn't get a picture with her. And hopefully, she becomes a fan, and will, that picture will happen someday. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Let's see, the show had Jose Dynamite, Simone P, and Daryl Bonilla. 3 people you should check out when you see them. On an event poster or something, go check them out. Very funny people. Did a great job. Let's see. Okay, Jose's asking, what was your favorite joke from last week's show? So I didn't hear everybody's jokes backstage but I'm assuming you're talking about my jokes. For me, it's always been because it's more storytelling. I like, once I get into the airplane bit, and I talk about seatbelt extension, from there, because there's so many things involved, and then it triggers the thoughts, Krispy Kreme donut and all these things. So those are some of my favorite, because like when I mention seatbelt extension, it becomes, that's the callback. So I used it in the first third of the show, and then the second third of the show, and then I closed it with seatbelt extension, so for me, when I do that, I love it. And then the crowd, I think, recognizes it, and it gets a bigger laugh. So that for me, I was pretty happy with. I did mess up on one of my stories, but I caught it. I was talking about there's a setup to my second interaction with the flight attendant, where setting up the seatbelt extension, like I'm not going to ask for the seatbelt extension. I know what to ask for. I'm going to ask for the championship belt. But I jumped into something else, which is about hiking and how Samoans don't belong hiking because that's not our thing, especially when cousins from Long Beach or the hood come to visit. It's like, well, that's not our thing to do. I want to go up into these mountains and take pictures and stuff. And then I realized I was like, whoa, I didn't get back. I didn't do that heavyweight championship bit. And then luckily, because we do these as far as stand-up comedians, we know that we do these jokes so many times that we memorize it, and then I was able to recover and go back and catch myself and then do that joke. Because if I didn't do that joke, the callback later on wouldn't hit as hard. So it was kind of like, oh no, I messed up. Now how am I going to end the show? I had to go back and find a way, which worked, and thank goodness. Lots of friends came out, and I really appreciate that. I was surprised. It was like people I haven't seen in like over 5 years. That were there, and then which is cool. A lot of them say they saw the posters, they saw the flyers, they saw me on the news, and then it was like, oh, we got to go and check it out. So, I really, really appreciated that. So I guess as far as that was probably my favorite joke. Overall, went well. Blue Note in Hawaii. You guys, they have a lot of shows coming up. They're starting to book more musical acts, and I believe Kevin Nealon is coming down soon, comedian Kevin Nealon. So a lot of shows coming up now that we're in a downward trend as far as the numbers go for COVID Omicron cases, which, is good because now we can go do more things. I believe I saw in California, they're getting ready to go in certain, depends on the county you live in, but California will be going no mask mandates anymore because the numbers have come down and the number of people that are vaccinated. So it depends. If your county says you still have to wear masks, then you still have to wear masks in that county. Also, it's up to, I guess, businesses, so like you go into a store and that store, mainly they were talking about like you go in the hospital or people who are susceptible and whatnot, like retirement homes. So those places will probably still ask visitors or customers to wear a mask, which makes sense. So yeah, Kevin Nealon's coming to Blue Note, Hawaii, March 18th and 19th. So that's BlueNoteHawaii.com. You can go get your tickets. But yeah, let's see. It was a great show. Thank you again, everybody. Thank you to Viral 808, Al's Tinting, Anheuser-Busch 808, and Comedy U, the sponsors for the show, as well as Living 808, KHON2, KITV4, Billy V, for having me as guests and helping to push the show. Also, thanks to Pancakes and Waffles Hawaii.com for doing a contest and to give tickets away. So it was pretty cool. I enjoyed it and look forward to the next shows. I'm actually, let's see, going to be performing. Let's see, what date is it? Oh, today's the 7th. Okay. So Wednesday there's going to be at is it Anna O'Brien's? Oh no, I'm sorry. Slack Key. In Hawaiian Brian's. What do you call that? Comedy workshop. So if you guys are interested, come down. I'll be there. I'm going to be there. I'm going to talk shop. I'm going to talk about, I guess, I don't like to give advice anymore, because giving advice is from my point of view is me telling you how to do it. So I know with comedians, we don't really like to be told what to do, but we do appreciate any assistance. So I'm gonna share my experiences and what some advice that I received from National Touring Comics over the 10, 12 years of opening for major headlining comics. I'm sorry, the workshop is Wednesday at Anna O'Brien's. So it's Anna O'Brien's Wednesday night. I'll be there. So if you can come down, come on down. Let's see. Let's check the comedy crew. Do you have an old joke that maybe you'd like to rework or tweak? So do I have an old joke? I actually do a lot of jokes that... So that night, last Wednesday at Blue Note, a bunch of my friends, Tumua Tuine and Graham Elwood, who were like comedy buddies, where we'll talk shop, we'll go over material and say, hey, this is a thought here, this is a thought there, and they saw, because they've seen me perform tons of times, and they're like, wait a minute, you've added a lot of new things, a lot of new tags, a lot of new bits, and that's what I think. A lot of comics try to do new material by coming up with a whole new subject or a whole new story or a whole new something, when actually the stuff that you had that works, why not, like the question says, tweak that. Why not try to work on adding something to that? So all of a sudden, that 5-minute bit becomes 7 minutes. The next thing you know, you keep adding or tweaking, it becomes 10 minutes. Like my airplane bit ties in with the Portland traveling to Portland, Oregon, and that's almost like 30 minutes on its own, where when it started out was like 10 minutes, and right now I'm doing a bit about the insurrection, which started out in the fall, like 5 minutes, and now that's like about 10 minutes, and been adding other things to it that'll turn it into a 15-minute bit. So and then all of a sudden you went from a bit to a whole story, because that's how it worked out for me with the seatbelt extension into Krispy Kreme donuts, and it all started from me getting on a plane and traveling. So all of that, I kept adding to it. And next thing you know, you have this whole story that people are like, oh, wow. Some of them think it's just one bit, but it's not. It's like a whole bunch of bits added into an airplane that travels, and then adding travel, the location, and all of a sudden it's like, I don't know. I feel like that whole thing is like 30 minutes, especially because this time I added act outs, and gestures. So it's not cool if you were making a CD or streaming audio, but then the gestures I was making was like I was using my body language to describe when myself walk into a plane, the way people see me, and they're like, and the thing I've always done was like, it was audio, like, oh, please don't sit next to me. And then I added like somebody tapping the person next to them's shoulder, and I'm acting out without any words, like, hey, look. And then I act like a big giant, walking down, like a gorilla is walking down the aisle in that plane. So, like, I was never one to go all out with the act outs, but it hit me at that moment, and I was like, oh, wow. I didn't even have to say anything, and it kept carrying the joke that I just said, where people go, please don't sit next to me. And then I started acting out, even shimmying down the aisle sideways, because I pointed out, I was like, yeah, like I don't walk face forward down the aisle. I can't fit that way, so I'm walking sideways. And just doing that, and it carried the joke even further. So that that was a cool thing with being able to do an hour and, well, having pretty much all the time I wanted, really. And then experimenting with the jokes as I'm telling it. A lot of people think like people who have like radio experience, like radio DJs, they go into stand-up comedy and then they grab the mic and then just nonstop talking because dead air is taboo for those people. But in actuality, and it's something Andy Bumatai taught me, is like the biggest, the most important thing for stand-up comedian is the thoughts. And while you're up on stage, you're thinking. So you're going to stop talking sometimes and think about what's next. What do I do next? What if I add this? Let me not do this because this crowd didn't respond to a little edgy comedy. Let me pull this back. So that happens as we're talking in our head. A lot of, stand-up comedians are intelligent people because of all the brain work that goes into. It's not just, hey, everybody, look at me, I'm this and I'm that. And it does work for some people, but not all people. So it's like the things that I wrote before I got here, and then as I not recite, but as I discuss it with you, the audience, and then hearing and seeing their reaction, it's like, oh, they don't really like this. They like this. So once I did that act out with gesturing and stuff, all of a sudden it got a big roar, and then the rest of the show I'm over there acting, as much as I can. That's not really my thing, but shoot, if it works and they're having a good time, shoot, that's what they're there for, and they paid their money and they want to have a good time. The Mox, Jonah Jackson, tell him. Thanks, brother, appreciate it. Right? So Jonah Jackson, I'll use the name that he has there. Jonah Jackson, freestyle rapper, improv guy. So that, speaking of, where as you're performing and your thoughts. So like I can do that as I perform, but not as fast as this guy, because to be able to like pick up something like, this is, this gray cup and then but make it rhyme. Oh man, that's next level. So that's those guys are special. The men and women that freestyle rap, I look at them, I'm like, yeah. Let's see, if I was to freestyle right now, I'd humiliate myself. Hopefully I didn't call myself out. Let's see. Yeah. I don't know if he's saying please or... So, the show was great. Thanks, Jose. Really had a good time. Look forward to the next one. So this episode, because we don't have a guest on, we're taking any questions. So anybody who jumps in, ask me anything. I'll give whatever I can answer. I'll give my honest, whether it's opinion or whether it's experience. I'll AMA. Ask me anything. Thanks, man. But not like you, though. Jonah says, you're a master on the mic. Love your material and approach always. Thank you. This is a good human being that I'm talking to. I don't want to put out too much of his information, but just trust me when I say that. Let's see what else I got. What is that? So Saturday, February 12th, I will be performing at Square Barrels. So if you guys are looking for something to do this Saturday, and you don't come out to the comedy workshop on Wednesday, come out to Square Barrels. Say hello. We can chit chat there. Let's see here. Shannon Brady. I really like the honesty and care for the audience is so key. I would come just to hear what he had to say. Oh, thanks. Let's see. Square barrels sound cool. Square barrels are a good spot too. I know Timur likes to go to a lot of these places like Square Barrels and Anna O'Brien's, and so those are a lot of the places that we go to work out new material. And the tricky part is, like, I guess for some new comics, when they go there and they try new material and they're like, oh, it worked. But then they don't think about it worked there at that moment. That's the thing about stand-up comedy that I like, is that it's you got to adjust to, so it's improv in a way, but you have a script somewhat. So and especially for doing stand-up comedy here in Hawaii is pretty unique because we are a melting pot. Like when I show up someplace, it could be all tourists from the United States. It could be all tourists from Canada. It could be a mixture of tourists from the United States and tourists from the Far East, and then it could be all local, like pigeon local or town local. So you never know. I remember doing one room. It was when early on in my career, was went to the Dragon upstairs, and there was a couple from New York City, a couple from, like, they were visiting, and they said, oh, there's a comedy show, and they showed up. So a couple from New York City, a couple from Chicago, a small group, like about 3 or 4 people from Japan, and then there were some locals, a handful of locals, and it was like, wow. So the challenge is to try to appeal to all of them. And, like, if I was to do, like, just pigeon local inside jokes, then I just get the local people and they're having a good time, but then everybody just went over their head. So that's why I always tell the guy, the comic stores, like, you gotta, as you're performing, you have to see what's, the reactions of the people, and then adjust. I mean, if you just want your crowd to laugh, then that's fine. Yes, great French fries at Square Barrels. This is true. Yeah, so true. Results may vary. Yeah. So at the workshop, probably be talking to. You seem to be very adaptive. Oh, sorry, Shannon Brady says, you seem to be very adaptive to your audience. I went to Ron White this last Friday and was surprised to see people of all races. Funny is funny, true. Timing is so key. I think you could say potato in the right way and get a laugh. You're reading your audience. Yeah. There's comics that like they're funny. Like, it's not so much the material. There's an up and coming comic that he performs at a lot of Comedy U shows. Actually performs all of it because he's going to be in the Lower Comedy Festival as well, and at Erica's show at the Beach House, Tex 808 at Clarice's place. But I usually see him at Slack Key, which is in Hawaiian Bryant at Comedy U's event, as well as Blue Note as Nico Butler. And it's funny because that's the cool thing about being in it for so long. And then I see guys come and go. So there's people that have jumped in, bombed, and then never came back. And that's the fear. They're like, no more. And it's like, it's not for everybody. And some of these are like really funny Instagram, what do you call those? Content creators that do really funny sketches. They show up at the stand-up open mic. and they kill one time, and then they feel like, oh, I can do this, and then they bomb the next one, and all of a sudden they don't want to do it anymore. And that's what it is. And me and Tumua talked about it on his previous episode of Hawaii Comedy with James Money, is that separates the people who will continue doing stand-up and people who won't do it anymore. It's bombing. Shoot, that's what do you call it? Tree shaking ceremony, if you will. I still bomb. Sometimes I go and I try to, like, I'll dig a hole. 2 Wednesdays ago, or not this past Wednesday, but the previous Wednesday, I went and I got up and I didn't speak for like 2 minutes, and it was so awkward. The room was like, what? It was like, and then when I finally talked, I was somewhat vulgar and aggressive, and it was just to get that feeling of, man, I messed up. I need to get to work, which was like a week before the headlining show. And the comics laughed because they knew what was going on. The people they giggled here and there because eventually they got it. And I've done that before, where I'll go and I'll just tank it, So that's why when MCs introduce and they give too much introduction, I don't like it. I know other comedians like Doug Stanhope doesn't like it. It's just say the person's name. You can even say where they're from, but just say the person's name and let them do it. Because the saying goes, nobody has ever gotten famous off of their introduction. So it's like, just introduce a person and that person comes out and, blows up the stage the way they do. So when they hype up, oh, James Bond is coming up, this comedian coming up, he's performed here, he's done this, oh, he's so awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, James Bond. And I come up and I do those sets where I try to destroy myself. And then all of a sudden it's like, this doesn't seem right. The introduction said he was good, but he is not good. So sometimes, I'll tell the host, hey, just say my name. Don't worry about it. Let's take a question from the comedy crew. Jonah Jackson asks, when was the best era for local comedy? Ooh. For like the typical local comedy, I would say it would be when, for me, it would be the 80s because of, you had who I consider legends, like Andy Bumatai was in his prime. Rapplinger was still around. Frank De Lima was young. So all these legends. Mel Kabang I didn't see too much because Mel was more adult show. But I did go see Frank De Lima in Waikiki a couple times. He comes to the schools. Booga Booga. Shucks, there was that one guy who he was the only ventriloquist, and I think his not dummy, but the puppet thing was Moki. So for me, that was one of my favorites because as a kid seeing that, I was like, whoa, his lips aren't moving. So at that time, there was, I think that was a really good time. But because I wasn't alive for the Don Ho era, I hear from, like, you can ask Andy Bumatai, and he talks about the people from that era because that was when he was growing up. Like, a lot of people don't know Don Ho could be considered a comedian, but there's also these radio personalities because back then there wasn't many TVs, so the radio guys did a lot of work. So they and I don't even know their names. That's I feel bad. I should. But yeah, Don Ho was like, he's considered also, he's an entertainer, but he's also funny. He was probably the coolest dude at that time. Maybe second to Jack Lord. Nobody messes with the original Hawaii 5-0. But yeah, for me, that would be that time. Not taking away from So a lot of people don't know that there's a lot of still local comics like Augie is still performing, and Augie is amazing. Whenever he puts something together, boom, it blows up. And one of the reasons is hardworking guy, funny person, cares, so he puts a lot into his performances. Khalil Palanca is out right now also, and him too. He's going to be performing at Blue Note in March with Comedy Hawaii and Comedy Kanikapila. It's going to be Khalil Palanca, Champ, Johnny Rocks Hollywood, Jose, and I don't know if I missed anybody. Well, hopefully somebody will let me know. But there's comedians now that are, and they're from like, they started a little bit before me. Elroy is one he's in the mainland now, but he's one of the guys that I looked up. Sean Felipe, who's in the mainland as well. Paulo Gata, Kermit Appeal. Paulo Gata, I believe, is in Vegas now, and then and then Kermit Appeal is Seattle. So there's a lot of comics from that group, the Augie group. They had a Hawaiian Ryan. He doesn't really do too much stand-up anymore. He's more radio personality. But a lot of the funny bits he creates, so he's still a comedian in that sense, for the Sam and Ryan show. So there's a lot of comics, and then Lanai does stand-up comedy. A lot of people don't really. That's who's in the show also, Lanai. So Lanai, because he's so good with the business side of things, he's always busy, and that's something I had problems with. When I get into the business side of comedy, then it takes away from my creative side. So I struggle with that. But yeah, so let's see what other questions we got from Average Girly Girl. Does comedy run in the family? Comedic family members? Well, asks my sister. I would say yes and no. Yes, it doesn't, because I'll say yes. Comedy does run in the family, but I think it's because we all in our household, we're always trying to crack each other up. We're always trying to outdo each other. I mean, I've been to tons of stand-up comedy shows. I've opened for some great ones. Dave Chappelle, Doug Stanhope, Patton Oswalt, Burt Kreischer, and amazing shows. But I don't get the same laugh that I do when I'm at home and my dad, my late father, my late brother, I miss very much, and just hanging out with those two guys and just hearing them talking and making fun of each other, and mostly my dad making fun of my brother, but like the laughs I got from them, and along with my mother, those are like some of the best laughs. And the funny part is, because my daughter, who's 18 now, grew up in this house with me as her father, she gets sarcasm. The only thing I keep warning her is like, she has to be careful, because some of her friends at her age don't get that yet. They don't understand that you're joking a lot. So you gotta, sometimes you think of something funny up here, it doesn't have to come out, because some people take offense to it. It's like, you gotta be careful. Let's see. Shannon says, the comedy crew, fail fast, fail forward. Yeah. Pivot when need, dial into one person, heckle if need. Yeah. So that's actually good right there, because really, I mean, some of the comics in our scene will take a showcase, or even like an open mic, like a mini showcase. It's like maybe 15 to 20 people there, and act like that's a big show. That's where I go to work out. I mean, that's where you go and try the new things or tweak or add to it. Marilyn Nascimento. Hello, Mel. What made you want to become a comedian? So I've always, it's weird because it's like one of those things when you do it and you're like, I should have been doing this a long time ago. I always like to make people laugh, and because we work together. And shoot, some of my favorite laughs was so I was a city bus driver for 17 years. You got injured, or when you went on light duty, you worked at the bus pass office, which is Marilyn was in charge of that when I was there. And some of the laughs I had in that room, talking to Mel, Layla, and Todd, and some of the other bus drivers who did light duty there, was like, as they would say, I guess on Conan, there's gold, Jerry, gold. Because so Todd, our friend in common, Todd, has he has the comedic mind. He's a little loose in certain parts. But like the things he says, and it just blows my mind. I never use it on stage, but like one of the things he said was like, it's weird that the state of Hawaii, and this was at a time where they started removing people who lived in tents on the beach. And say, look at that. When no racial, when a Hawaiian lays down on the beach, the police come and carries them off. But when a sea monster comes out, like a seal or what have you, or turtle comes on the beach, and then they cone the area off. Everybody watch out, because the animals are more important than the Hawaiian people. And hearing that is like, there's a lot of truth to it. But then the way he says it, just, I was rolling. I was like, man, that is the comedic mind right there. I haven't seen him in a while. Super funny guy. Let's see. Jonah says, overselling kind of leaves space for expectation and disappointment. Yeah. See, Mark is here. Which open mic venue here was your favorite? Thanks for the question, Mark. So, the place I liked the best, it's no longer here. It was called Laugh Track Theater, because it was a mini theater. It was a small room that maybe could hold 50 people. But everybody was up close. The walls were all black, so it was very intimate. You were there. You were in the show. And it was BYOB, so a lot of people came. And then they only did it every third Thursday of the month. And this is back in 2010, 11, 12, somewhere around there. And you would have 30 comics signed up, standing outside on Merchant Street. Is that Merchant Street? Well, it was across the street from the Hawaii Theater. And we were all out there waiting, and so we can talk as comics. We could talk to each other a lot because we're outside. And then you get called to go in and you perform. So that was like my early days, which was really cool. Laugh Track Theater. Today, I like to go to Slack Key, which is in Hawaiian Brian's. The way the room is set up is very comedy club-like. Stage, you're standing up high. The tables and chairs are close. They even moved the bar further back so that the noise wouldn't affect the show. So they understand how comedy rooms are supposed to be. Some people don't know, like they think, oh, anywhere is a good place to do stand-up comedy, but no, it has to be the ideal spot. Like if you look at on TV, The Cellar, you see how close the comics are to the audience, and you see how low the ceiling is. That's perfect, because you want that intimacy. You want people close and paying attention and hearing your words and understanding and connecting with you. If the room is spread out and wide, that's difficult, because then the audience has a chance to disconnect, and then all of a sudden, it's like, they disconnect, then they start talking, looking at the phone, and then it's difficult for the performer. So I would go. Anna O'Brien's is a good place to go because they're very supportive there. A lot of people, and that's one of Tumua's favorite places to go. He says that's where he got his start. I like Slack Key. I think because I'm maybe biased to Hawaiian Brian's, because I like the people there. Freddie Morris. Thank you, Sparkles. Freddie Morris. Let's see. Heckling back is probably the best way to get by in and show your wit. Thank you for the question or the comment, Shannon. So that's funny you say that because when I started out like 2010, 11, 12, somewhere around there, I was still driving the city bus, and when people got on, I would, in my head, act like they're heckling me, and then I would snap back in my head. So it was just messed up because majority of the people that catch the bus, general public, but there's a certain time of the day where it's mostly elderly. So, somebody's coming on the bus and I'm ripping this person for having gray hair or taking too long to get up the steps or, I can't remember exactly what I said, but it was along those lines, like even smells, but I never said it. So the person never got offended or affected by it. But in my head, I was just letting them have it. Like I was insulting their family. See what Jonah says here. They pushed a lot of boundaries for how folks saw Hawaii. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Shannon says Don Ho was a comedian. Yep. A funny guy. Entertainer. That's what it is. He had that thing that most Hawaiian people have. Like even... as well, I would say Polynesian. Well, actually, in a lot of performers, singers have that because they're comfortable with being there, and then they can just riff. So, yeah, I can see Don Ho's like talking to the crowd and in between songs and whatnot. Shannon asks, "What is your favorite topic?" My favorite topic, yeesh. So I guess it would be family because Louis Anderson, the late Louis Anderson, God rest his soul, when I opened for him at Blue Note, he was telling me, he said, I used to do, this is what I was doing a lot of before. I'm big, buffet jokes, whatever has to do with food, I did that. And he said, so I've done those I'm big jokes, I eat jokes, and yada yada yada. But it wasn't, this is Louis Anderson talking, but it wasn't until I started talking about family that my career took off. And then I thought about it, he had that cartoon where he was a baby or something. And so and then he even won an award for acting like his mother, was an Emmy for that on the show. I forget what it's called. Is it FX on with Galifianakis? Hey, A-Town Media in the house. What's up? So I coach at Aya High School. A-Town Media is the social media outlet that helps promote our kids. The goal is to get these kids into college, or not all of these, not all of them have the goal of going to play football in college, but it's college is not the only way to succeed, but it can give you a head start. So A-Town Media is a huge part of getting our kids at Aya High School. But they don't only show Aya High School, although the name is A-Town, which is a nickname for Aya. But they show pretty much a lot of the kids from the state. If we play against them and he has video on them, he'll blast them out there. And the goal is to get all these kids, who want to play next level. Yeah. Oh, there he is. Thanks, Jose. So comedy Kanikapila with Lanai, Khalil, Johnny Rocks, Champ, and Jose Figueras, or Jose Dynamite, on March 16th at Blue Note, Hawaii. So if you guys are able, go ahead and get your tickets to go see that show. It's going to be really fun. The one thing about that show, if you look at the names, you're getting variety comedy. I can see Johnny Rocks Hollywood. Let's just say he's fabulous, and he brings that attitude, like nobody in our scene can. I don't know what he has in line for his set, but sometimes he sings. Sometimes he brings a lot of sass. Okay, in his comedy. Champ is like when Champ is on the stage, you never know because he could be telling you jokes, or he could be heckling. Like, I think they call it speed bagging, where you just go around and start talking to the people and start pretty much hitting them with, puns and jokes and whatnot. Lanai, he does his set. He's very chill, and he's very like calm with his delivery, but he points out little silly things that he observes. Kaleo Palanca is Mr. If Mr. Aloha was a person, Kaleo Palanca is that person. It's like his, what is it? I guess I don't want to say dream, but it's like his thing in life is to entertain you, and you don't even have to be at his show. If you're next to him, or you're around him, he will do his best to get you to laugh, or at least be entertained, or have a good time. He's Mr. Aloha. He tons of love for everyone. So love that guy. Jose is also performing. He'll take things and then he'll kind of twist, like he'll take something from here and he'll twist it or add something weird to it, and then point them out and present it to you, without doing his material. And there's stuff that, like when he says it, you're like, oh, why didn't I think of that? So that's one of those comics where like, oh, I could have thought of that one. That's pretty funny. So go ahead and get tickets for that show. All right. Johnny Sparkles asks, who is on your Mount Replinger of comics from Hawaii? Rap doesn't count. He is the mountain. This is true. Okay, so like, I guess he's referring to like Mount Rushmore. So from Hawaii. Let's see. Well, obviously, Andy Bumatai is on. So I'm trying to think if I'm going to go with all time that I'm aware of, or the guys that are out now, like the Paul Ogata who's out now. Because if there's only 4, we say all time, including the legends that I know of, I would definitely Andy Bumatai. Andy Bumatai would have prime spot on that mountain. Let's see, you get the morning sun. You won't get the afternoon. Afternoon sun is the worst sun. So Andy Bumatai. And if we're talking about comedy in general, so then you're talking about, because you can say that Frank De Lima's not a stand-up comedian. He does more of a one-man show, variety show, because he dresses up. He does, like the Bradas when they perform, they get into character. They put on different costumes for certain characters that they do. So Andy Bumatai, Frank De Lima, so many years he's put into this in show business. I didn't see Uncle Mel early. I saw Uncle Mel late, but just maybe one show. Out of respect, people will put him up there, but from what I've seen, I don't think I could. Doesn't mean I don't love the guy. Let's see. And I'm not going to include guys like Tumua in this, because this is I'm looking at like old school dudes. So I would put Augie, because I would say he took the torch from those guys and carried it on, and now it's so the torch is carried, and Tumua is the next one coming up. But still, Tumua is fairly new, so I won't put him on that list yet. But they have a spot and they're waiting for him to join. But so like Augie and I wanna so there's a lot that's like just clumped together. Shucks. Let's go with personal. I would say Paul Ogata. Out of all of those names, all the legends I've seen and whatnot, his writing is the one that makes me go, oh my God, that is genius. You can see his videos and stuff, and Paulo got to, I think his mind is a little tweaked, and that's why he has all those thoughts, and comes up with those funny bits. And so if you see him, go check out on YouTube. I don't know if there's videos. There are a lot of it. The videos I saw, I think he did one in Gotham, in New York, and it was hilarious. So Marilyn, yeah, City Bus Driver says it all. That should be your best material. That, I'm sorry, that's Shannon. Yeah, you're right. Actually, for a long time, that was like my money bit, where people would remember. It's like one of the taglines was psh, the sound of the brakes, the sound of the door. So that, like, I was walking in Chinatown one night, and a group of people were like, "Hey," psh, and just like, it's just so weird, but it was kind of cool at the same time. Let's see. Mark says, that sounds awesome. Bummer it's not around, but there's still other places, Yeah, Johnny Sparkles Laugh Track is where I made my debut. Station Bar was my favorite. Oh yeah, Station was good. Open mic. Jose's original open mic was Sharky's at All Star in Waikiki. Oh, that was way back in the days. Let's see. We got a... Hey, James, I think I subscribed to your channel way back when I found out you were doing comedy while working at Kaiser. I just saw your stream up and wanted to say, I hope you have been doing well. Swift Law, I'm assuming, is what we're going by. They try to trick us with that. Number 1. I'll find out the real name later. But yeah, I worked at Kaiser Hospitals, not hospital, Kaiser Permanente's IT department. And that's where a lot of my TikTok bits came from, because I'm like, I am not working IT help desk ever again. So I'm really trying to get this podcast going. So if you guys could subscribe to my on YouTube to this podcast, I would really appreciate, because I really do not want to go back to doing IT help desk. I would love to stay and keep doing comedy. Let's see. The comedy crew is busy today. Thank you guys for commenting. One of the most surreal things, Johnny Sparkle says, one of the most surreal things I've ever saw was Don Ho singing Beastie Boys Sabotage on Late Night with Conan. Okay, there's a YouTube search that's coming up soon. Mark says, Baskets. Yep, that's the show. That's the show. And Sparkle says, Christine Baskets. Yep, that's the character. Johnny Pastor, Kumu, says, you're just amazing at all of it. And I want to say, the lei you gave me, it's hanging up here, but it's dry now. If I grab it, it's going to fall apart. The lei you gave me after the show on Wednesday is a beautiful lei. I was like, wow, it's in the theme of Lunar New Year. Are we allowed to say Chinese New Year? But the Lunar New Year, which was February 1st. And it was awesome. Thank you so much for the lei, sir. Kung hei fa choi. Yeah, I wish you money. So, Fuafua Makura says, we got to get you some LED mood lighting next. Oh, I'm old school, man. I like these string lights. I like when the studio in Hawaiian Brian's had them. I loved them. I was like, man, I'm going to get that in my room. It's not set up the best, but it looks, I can see. I guess that's the main thing. What is this? What is Jonah saying in there in the comedy crew? If Puanani Patrol was a person, if Butu Butu Suk Suk was a person, I don't know who we're talking about now, but that's funny. Let's see. So Kamaru Fresh is asking if I know any Hawaiian filmmakers. Ooh, that's a tough one. Not any good ones, if you will. But like nowadays, I mean, everybody can consider themselves a filmmaker. There's a lot of I know a lot of the people that do like content creators or influencers in social media. I know those people, but can they be considered filmmakers? If they are, then yeah. If they're not, if you don't consider them, like you're true to the art or whatever's, then I would say I know one. Can't think of his name right now because I haven't seen him in years. But I wouldn't be able to tell you if I knew a lot of them. So Jonah Jackson says Sparkles is hammer. Yes, Sparkles is hammer. He's a sparkling hammer. Johnny Sparkles, who's a guest on a previous episode, does the one-liner type approach, but he does have a story that he tells, but with doing showcases, sometimes you only get 10 minutes or 15 minutes. That's when it's difficult to do those big stories. So like even for myself, I would have to cut out excuse me, my bit about Airplane and Portland, Oregon, which can be 30 minutes. I wouldn't be able to do those jokes. Or even if I started doing them, I wouldn't be able to do anything new. So I'll be doing new jokes going throughout this month. Let's see what Shannon says. Just talking about the bus would probably send 99% into side-ripping laughter, expound, and make a great story. We can all relate to the bus passenger, relate your family through the bus passenger stereotype. The bus passengers can represent all the crazy peeps we have. Can't wait to see our material. So because I was a driver, Shannon, my point of view is unique compared to, I don't know any other stand-up comedians that drove the city bus. So for when I got up and talked, it was a unique point of view where people don't. So I was doing stuff like where I was revealing some of our secrets. Like, one of them is that we do run red lights and we're okay with it. We run them on purpose, and sometimes we just keep going. So it's stuff like that people, like, oh. So Jonah says, current Mount Replinger, Mane, Sparkles, Felipe, and Villanueva. Oh, there's a name from the past. Let's see. Johnny Sparkles says his mountain is similar to mine's. Ogata is automatic for him. Yeah, Paul Ogata is a great writer. Fuafua Makura says Paul Ogata is one of the first local comedian albums I ever bought. And that's funny because for you, that's the first album you ever bought. The first stand-up comedian I ever saw was Andy Bumatai. That's why he's like, one of the reasons I have him up there, because he inspired me. The reason I put him, like, he has the best part of that mountain is because he still helps me to this day. And he's like, I call him the professor because he can watch your set and break down every little thing word by word. And that's why, it's like, I don't know anybody else who can do that. Jonah added on, featuring Toba, Augie, Bonilla, and Pepper. Yeah, those are good ones. Let's see. Johnny says, Jeff Orig is a pretty good filmmaker. Oh, there you go. So if you're looking for Hawaii filmmakers, Jeff Orig is a good filmmaker. Cool. I appreciate you guys all chiming in on the Comedy Crew chat house. That's so weird. I called it a chat house. I'm trying to come up with a name. It's a new podcast, so we're still working on it, people. But yeah, just remember to go ahead and do me a favor and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Search Comedian James Mane. Subscribe. Hit that bell. Boom. that notification to let you know when we're going live. So if I stick to the schedule, I'll be doing live 7 p.m. from Hawaii every Monday and Thursday night. This Thursday, I won't be doing it because a really good friend of mine, his son is playing basketball, and it's his senior night. So it's his last home game for his basketball career in high school. So I'll be going to support that. So that's what you do with family. You know, you got to go support and be there, and because that's what it is. It's all about the memories, you know, especially for young people. So you go ahead and you make memories with them, and then, yeah, you know, that got weird. All right, cool. Thank you guys for all the questions in the Comedy Corner, or did I say Comedy Crew? Man, what's the name of my podcast? Hawaii Comedy with James Money Podcast. All right. So here's a segment. We're going to the next segment. Since you guys are all questioned out, and I appreciate you guys. Let's see. What happened? This segment is called What Happened. Basically talking about current events that's going on. Things that happened recently. Yesterday, Sunday, February 6th, the Pro Bowl happened. My opinion, the Pro Bowl sucked. Why even play anymore? Why don't you just make flag football? They didn't even tackle. It was almost two-hand touch football with pads on. Why do they have pads on? I saw the first two plays, and I switched it. I was like, no, it's over. They're not playing serious. Why watch? I think it would have been better if they just did like the events like they did the previous nights, where they just see who can throw the ball farther or who can get more points by hitting a target. Just do that. Stop playing the game. It's a waste of time. Almost got into like a weird Muppet voice. It's a waste of time. Yoda. The AFC won 41-35. I don't know why they kept score. I think somebody gets more money if they win, but I don't. Do you win? Shoot. And then Kamara, the running back for the New Orleans Saints, probably had the most action during the Pro Bowl, where he ended up getting arrested after the game. It was so weird because I didn't watch the game. I watched the first couple plays. And I was like, they're not playing real. I'm not watching. And then I saw on Instagram that he got arrested, and I was like, what did he do in the game to get arrested? Did he tackle somebody? What? Because it was supposed to be for some kind of violent attack or something, but I guess it happened a couple of nights before or the night before at a nightclub. Oh, these NFL players and getting in trouble, man. I don't know if it's the money. What? Johnny Sparkles asks, what's your Super Bowl final score? Ooh. If you're still on, go ahead and comment what you think your final score is. Let's see who's get close to it. I'm going to cheer for, even though they're our rivals. I'm a 49er fan. So the Rams is my rivals, but I'm cheering for Matthew Stafford because he played all those years with Detroit Lions and even had the no-win season. And, people were blaming him. It's like, Detroit sucked for a long time, and I'm pretty sure it's not him. They had the best running back of, arguably of all time, Barry Sanders, and he still couldn't get to the big show. It's just that program. Some programs, some organizations, from front office, it's just not there. You look at a team like a program like Pittsburgh Steelers. They always find a way to win. They haven't had a losing season since before Ben Roethlisberger. That's how you do it. I mean, 49ers, not to toot my own horn there, but we fell off, but we rebounded. So that's a sign of a pretty good organization where, we lost a lot of players or cap salary or something, and then we bounce back. But like Detroit is just down there. I mean, it's sad. So Matthew Stafford, I'm rooting for him. The other reason is because Joe Burrows he has time. He's young. He's a really good, competitive quarterback. He has Jamar Chase, one of the best receivers in the game. They will be back there. They will be, competing for a championship again. I don't know how many years Stafford has. I am going with the. I have a feeling. I'm not saying I'm going to be right, but that it's going to be a dominating one. I know the whole playoff season this past season was close. All the games went overtime. Well, a majority of the games went overtime, or even came down to some of the last plays. So I'm going to go with the Super Bowl being different. I think the Rams get ahead early, and just too much for Cincinnati. I think, for me, the problem with Cincinnati is they can't run. The Rams' weakness is the run game, which they proved that they could when they made the adjustments against the 49ers, that they could stop the run. So I would say it's going to be 35 to 17, but it's going to be like 28 to 7 half, and it's all garbage time after that. It's going to be ball control by the Rams. I mean, like, what are you going to do defensively? Are you going to stop Cooper Kupp, or try to? Are you going to have a double team him? And then all of a sudden there's OBJ, who's waiting for his Super Bowl. It's just too many weapons, and the Rams D, they figured out how to stop the run. They've always been good against the pass, so I think it's going to be an NFL blowout. It's not going to be like college blowout. It'll be like 50-7 or something. But so Johnny Sparkle's prediction: Rams 31, Cincinnati 28. Ooh. Pepper, the misunderstood evil genius, who's the one of few Cincinnati fans that we know of, is not going to be happy. But hey, good luck to him too. If they win, cool. I mean, all those years against the Niners that they lost, oh well. What else in sports is happening? The Winter Olympics. Exactly. Who really cares? I mean, I do like curling though. I know people that like curling, so I watch curling. I don't know why. It's just interesting, I guess. Like, wow, it's boring. The cool thing I like about it is, as they're doing the curling, I'm not really paying attention, but I'll look up every now and then. So I think that's how I watch TV now. I don't watch something that I need to watch every second because my phone is on. So I'm either attacking on Clash of Clans or watching TikTok or Instagram or making them. So if you guys are in Clash of Clans, find me. I use my real name like an idiot because I started out when they first started. So my village is from old school. Let's see. Jose, if Bengals win, Joe Burrow would win Heisman, NCAA, Super Bowl, all in 3 years. Kind of cool to see that. Yeah, that's kind of cool, but I kind of don't want that. Just like I didn't want Brad Pitt. Not Brad Pitt. What am I talking about? I just clumped Brad Pitt and Tom Brady into the same person. So I didn't want Tom Brady to win all those Super Bowls because I wanted Joe Montana to still be the best. But, Tom Brady did what Tom Brady did, and he's the GOAT. I can't even argue. Before it was an argument when he only had 4. Now I can't argue that. Tom Brady is the GOAT for sure. I'm surprised he's retiring. I figure he had another year. Average Girly Girl says curling is amazing. I don't know why they yell at though. Well, because they're far away. But they're like, rah, rah, rah. And it's cool to hear the other languages yelling, because we don't know. They could be swearing, and then like the English censors, they don't know. They're just saying stuff. So Winter Olympics, I think it doesn't get exciting until bobsledding happens. I can't think of any other. I mean, skiing downhill. I mean, I'm sure there's people that like these sports, and I'm not dissing that. But when I watch them, I'm like, okay, cool. But one thing amazing happened this year with the Winter Olympics. Amazing is the opening ceremony. Did you guys see that Samoan guy walking through with no clothes on? It's freezing, and this Sole is walking through with just oil on his body, and then he has a lava on. He has the head, and he's holding a metal pole and no gloves, and he has slippers on. Thank goodness he had the slippers on so he didn't get frostbite. As I'm watching, I'm like, this dude is gonna have a cold before his event happens. The American Samoan guy walks into the ceremony. His name is Nathan Crumpton. For those of you that don't know, this is what amazed me. The dude is from Kenya. He was born in Kenya. His father was an ambassador. Born in... I know he has some Hawaiian in him. I'm still trying to find if he's actually Samoan. I think he would have to be to represent American Samoa. Or maybe have like a grandparent or something that's from American Samoa. But Nathan Crumpton is also, and this blew my mind. Okay, so first of all, okay, he's Samoan because he's representing American Samoa. He's doing more for American Samoans than I have ever done for American Samoans. So this guy is way more Samoan than I am. He's was born in Kenya, and he is a Princeton guy. A Samoan. Who would have thought that there's a Samoan out there that was born in Kenya, Africa, and is a graduate of Princeton? I think Mufi Hanneman is either Princeton. I think it's Princeton. Princeton or Harvard? I think it's Princeton. It's like, man. And you know what event he's in? I'm like, why is an American Samoan in the Winter Olympics? They don't have weightlifting or wrestling. What's going on? The dude is performing. So he's naked. He's walking through. Yes, everybody's bundled up in winter coats, and he's walking around no shirt. He's performing in skeleton. I was like, skeleton? What the hell is that? So that's like, it's a naked bobsled. So it doesn't have any protection. The person lays on their stomach and it's just a sled, and the person flying down, they call it a luge? Full speed. And this Sole is going down there. Hopefully he doesn't crash. Hopefully he has the proper attire when he's going down there. So Fua says, either you or one of your parents has to be able to claim citizenship to compete under the country. Because my daughter is playing soccer. The soccer recruit from Samoa, which is the other Samoan country, came over and talked to me and my daughter. But it's like, oh, we're American Samoan, so we can't play for. So he's, oh yeah, you have to be. But because there's, it's still Samoa. So I could have somebody in my family that's from, maybe a grandparent or great grandparent who's from Savaii, the big island in Samoa. Then Tyler would be able to play, but we can't track anybody from from that side of the family. If we do have, as far as I know, both of my parents is from American Samoa. Jose says women's ice hockey. Yes, hockey is a good sport. I do enjoy watching the hockey. So good luck to that Sole Nathan Crumpton, who tried to outdo the Tongan flag bearer, Pita, who was in the Summer Olympics. Everybody was like, "Woo, look at that Polynesian man," and that's probably the first Tongan that a lot of people ever saw or even know what a Tongan was. So in that sense, that's cool. He's ambassador of his people. Same thing with Nathan Crumpton. Oh, good luck to those people. All right, and here in Hawaii Comedy Podcast, it's time for Stupid News. Since we're doing news, current events, I have to look up some stupid news. For old time's sake, from the Guys with Issues era, when we used to do stupid news. And of course, you can't be stupid news without looking up something in Florida. So, elderly woman in Florida, just in case you missed it, was accused for stabbing her neighbors in a fight over the leaf blower. Really, it was over the leaves in their yard. So a woman comes home, sees the leaves on her yard, and is angry, and say it must be from the neighbors across the street. So she brings out a leaf blower and blows all those leaves over to their side, to their yard. And the people in that house, the neighbors, say, what's going on here? Come out with their leaf blower and start blowing the leaves back. It's kind of like that movie, Screaming, Kicking and Screaming, with Will Ferrell and Mike Ditka, trying to get the leaves over to the other yard. And they're going back and forth. And then all of a sudden, according to the neighbors, the woman, Kyung Moulton, who's 66 years old, pulls out a kitchen knife or steak knife and stabs the man, stabs the wife, and stabs one of their mothers. And obviously they went and ran and called the cops. Now, when the police get there, Kyung Moulton says, I did not stab anybody. So they go to surveillance camera. I guess, luckily there's surveillance camera. Maybe it's one of those ring bells at the front door or something. And so in the surveillance camera, they see the Kyung Moulton push them or shove them, and they fall down, but do not see a knife. So this is where it gets stupid. And this is where it gets Florida. So, was there a knife? I mean, Jose says this news story really blows. Hey yo. So was there a knife? And if there was no knife, did this family go back in the house and cut themselves so that Kyung Moulton would get arrested for attacking them with a knife or for stabbing? Like what? Like how far would you go to get rid of your neighbors? That is crazy. Well, I guess you gotta do whatever you can to get. They must really not like each other. Like, sheesh. How about just move? Something else. Man. And that was stupid news. It's time for. I gotta do it right, ladies and gentlemen. It's time for Jimmy's Top 10. Today's Top 10 celebrities that look good back in the day and still look good today. So these are celebrities, mainly movie stars, that look good back in the 80s, 90s, but still look good today. Okay? Jimmy's Top 10 celebrities that look good back in the day and still look good today. Number 10, Cindy Crawford. Yeah. Whatever that commercial she has where she puts lotion on, yeah, that's still working, girl. So she looks amazing. Number 9, Brad Pitt. It doesn't really look like he aged from when he was on Thelma and Louise. He looks almost the same. Number 8, Pierce Brosnan. Yeah, I remember when he was at Remington Steele, was it? And he looks almost the same as James Bond. And now, what are these guys doing? What are they doing? I guess healthy living, eating right, and they still look good. Or just good genes. Jennifer Connelly. Ooh, that's a hot one right there. Jennifer Connelly. Is it Colony? I'm just putting all white people into colonizers. Jennifer Connelly. Yes, still looks amazing. Number 6, George Clooney. Yes, George Clooney is a good-looking guy. I mean, shoot. last thing I saw him was Ocean's 13. But I remember seeing him back in the 80s on Facts of Life. I was like, yeah. I think he had a mullet in Facts of Life. But I know you guys are saying there's a lot of men in this list. But understand, top 10. This is the bottom part of the list, okay? You're moving up, I put the women that I find attractive up higher, okay? I'm not saying I find these men attractive, but they're good looking. This list is compiled from people, okay? Not just me, all right? Settle down. Number 5, Denzel Washington. Yeah. He looks like he has never changed either. He just got, like, I don't know, every movie he looks the same. But he has that thing with his lips, like, where he gets serious. I love the scene in Remember the Titans, when he gets those boys before they get on the bus and he tells them, "Who's your daddy?" Oh man, if there's anybody I would want to be in a movie with, it would be Denzel Washington, because that's got to be like some real intense scenes right there. All right, number 4, Michelle Yeoh. Man, that is timeless beauty right there. Michelle Yeoh. I mean, the name is cool as hell, though. Yo. Michelle Yeoh. She was recently on Shang-Chi. But she's also, like, I thought she was beautiful, like, way back in the day. But when I seen her on Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, Crouching Lion, Crouching Lion, Hidden Dragon. When I seen her on there, then I was like, man, that is a beautiful woman. And she still is beautiful today. Number 3, Halle Berry. Whew. I didn't realize Halle Berry was in her 50s. But yeah. Halle Berry was hot and is still hot. Number 2, Ming-Na Wen. Ming-Na Wen, like, yeah, she's in her 50s also. She started, I think, in soap operas in the 80s. But, so, like, when she smiles, she's taking pictures of her, she's pretty, but beautiful woman. But the thing that gets me is when, like, so we've seen her on S.H.I.E.L.D., seen her on Boba Fett, and she has that face, like, and she makes that face like, I don't trust you, and now I must kill you. The face that she has, and it's like she's just a resting face, like she's just like resting and giving you like a side eye thing. When she does that, man, I'm like, woo, that is a beautiful woman. She has like resting hot face, like, but then, she gives you that look. You're either about to get beat up or you're about to die, because that's the part of the movie or the show when she just takes your ass out. And number one, Jimmy's top 10 celebrities that look good back in the days and still look good today in their 50s. Number 1, Jennifer Beals. So, from Flashdance, she was beautiful then. And L Word, she was beautiful there. And then she was, I didn't even know. It's funny because I'm watching Boba Fett, obviously from Ming-Na Wen. And there's one of the episodes early on, they go into like a saloon or a bar or club, whatever, and the host or the owner of the place comes up to them and it's an alien. He has all this alien stuff, and I think it's orange. And goes up to them and talks to them, and then is the owner, hostess of the place. And I was like, man, that alien is beautiful. I didn't know it was Jennifer Beals. I had no idea. I was like, wow, that's a pretty alien. So if they can make you look like an alien and you still look beautiful and you're over 50, you're number 1 on Jimmy's top 10. So Jennifer Beals, how about that? Oh yeah, we're about the hour-half mark. Man, I appreciate all of you guys coming in and commenting on the Comedy Crew or Comedy Corner. The Comedy Corner sounds better. You guys let me know. I'll put it up on Instagram as a question. See if it should be called Comedy Crew, as you guys are part of the crew, or should I put it Comedy Corner? Because on my screen, it shows up in the corner. That's how simple I am. All right. So again, I want to give a shout out to Comedy U Hawaii. Ladies and gentlemen, go to comedyuhi.com and scroll down a little bit, and you'll see upcoming events. They have posters of all the upcoming shows upcoming shows that are coming up. All right. And you find the show that you want to go to, and I may be in one of them. I'll be there next Thursday at Taqueria in Kapolei. So you can have tacos, listen to jokes. We'll have a good time. Let's see here. Let me click on this thing. It's popping up. So appreciate you guys. Go to my website. I'll be updating it. You can see past episodes there as well in the podcast page. That's going to be on comedianjamesmane.com. So you go to the website, comedianjamesmane.com, YouTube channel, Comedian James Mane. My Instagram's Comedian James Mane. Facebook, Comedian James Mane. Google search Comedian James Mane and you will find me. Please subscribe. It'll help this podcast see future days. Have more episodes. We got a lot of guests coming up. Every episode will have a guest, but I appreciate you guys popping in and making this episode a really memorable one with all your questions. Thank you guys so much for keeping it rocking. I gotta check. I think I got food downstairs. You know what that means? I'm out.
It's the rhythm in my bones.